Right? And they'll be like, how was your bike? My bike was great. That's awesome. Only 18 more miles to go. All right, let's walk, right? You don't want to be those people, okay? So you come in at T2. Again, hopefully you've been good on your nutrition. You'll be assessing your body as you go. You get your Garmin started, whatever you do, you get suited up. High five your family because they didn't see you on the bike course because there's just nowhere to go out there to see you. And then off you go running. Again, like I mentioned, lots of twists and turns on this course. The wind's going to be, 1 minute it's here for a block, then it's here for a block, then it's here for a block, and it's here for a block. Hard to settle into a rhythm, okay? Know that at the early stages of the run, you're going to feel pretty hot because by the time it gets to 74, after having been 50 all day on the bike plus your wind chill, 74 is going to feel like you're on the surface of the sun. But then by about 4 or 5 o'clock, the sun's going to start to go down, and you're going to say, I am freezing. Last year, they handed out space blankets to the spectators because they were so cold watching. So be prepared for that. If you're a sensitive person, you have low body fat, especially the ladies, you have to be prepared to stay warm. So the run. Here on the course, it's 6.5 miles out to the end of the state park and then back in again. Very simple course. It's just the way they made it work is you have to go back and forth so many times. Again, hard to get your bearings. Find some landmarks again on lap 1, but your first #1 goal is those 30 seconds per mile slower in those first 6 miles. Focus on your form, focus on your technique. With all these turns, it's easy to go point to point. You pick a tree at the turn, you run into that tree. You run into this house, you run into that pole. You're not thinking, I need to get to mile 6.5 by a certain time. Mile 6.5 is a magical place. You won't get there till you get there, okay? Aid stations on the run, also critical. Inside Endurance Station, we recommend that you walk about 30 steps at every single aid station. Why 30 steps? 30 steps because you can count it. So 30 steps starts and 30 steps ends. Can't fudge 30 steps. It's 30 steps. If you say, I'm only going to walk like 20 seconds, well, by like mile 16, you're like, oh, what's another couple seconds? Another couple seconds. And pretty soon you're pulling me, you're walking 2 minutes in the aid station. Now you know everybody. They're all like, see you later, come back, goodbye. Because you made friends with everybody. That's not what you want. So what do? You know what you want before you get to the aid station. You run to that person in the aid station. Aid stations mirror themselves in and out. So if it's food here, it's food there. So if it's water, perform food, it'll be perform water. Okay, that's the way it works in and out. It mirrors. Run to the person you want, get what you need, start walking, start counting your steps. Eat, drink, take in what you need, and then start running again. Okay? Again, it sounds counterintuitive, but that little break helps you get your heart rate down, helps take a quick gut check of your system, what feels tight, what doesn't feel tight. Also make sure you get in calories. You can't eat that much on the run. You simply can't. By that point in time of the day, your body doesn't want it, and depending on how you pace yourself earlier, you're not going to be able to absorb it. And so it's about a little bit of calories all along. It's kind of like an IV drip. You're just trying to keep it going. You want your personal finish line to happen after the Ironman finish line, not before. Okay, so we're feeding ourselves as you go. You will see people on race day hit those aid stations like it's a local 5K. Cups will go splashing out of people's hands and they go flying through those aid stations. Again, you're going to feel like I'm falling behind. But those calories are critical for the end of your day. Because when the wheels fall off at mile 18, when you say, all of a sudden, strawberry banana gel, someone, like a little kid tries to give it to you and you just want to punch him in the mouth because you're like, I hate strawberry banana. Can't you tell that? That's all I've had all day. You can't fix that problem unless you stop. Because what do they got? Pretzels, bananas? You're like, I didn't train with pretzels. I got to eat this stuff. I got to get it in my system. It's got to digest. 10, 15 minutes later, I'm going to feel better. I can go again. But that's 10 or 15 minutes. You had to fix that problem. You solve that by being smart about your pacing, getting good food in, reasonable amount throughout your day, trying to flatline your nutrition and your heart rate. So do that from the outset. It's very hard to walk those aid stations, but use them as a tool. We walk those aid stations early on because it's a carrot, okay? Later on in the day, it becomes a stick. You've got to get out of this aid station. You'll see people, like mile 20, they're like 29, 29. They don't want to run again. They don't want to run again. That becomes your goal. And there's other things you can do. I'm going to start running by that telephone pole, that mailbox. Give yourself a hard target. So when you get there, you start running again. You get into times or when you feel better, when the heart rate drops, there's a lot of fuzziness around there. And you'll start to drop off the back. At the end of the run, like I said, mile 18, you're going to start noticing people around you. Start working with those people. Start running with those people. Until this point in time of the day, you've pretty much ignored everyone. So you're not looking at numbers on the calves and the bikes as you go by, and you're not worried about people if they're in your age group on lap 1 on the run. But at the end of the run, now you're working with these people. Someone starts to walk, you're like, come on, let's pick it up. Let's do this together. Trying to find some motivation. Give some, get some, okay? It's very easy to fall off your goal effort or your goal focus on the race when things start to get hard because your mind starts to wander. But on this course, it gets extremely dark early. 5:30, it's pretty much dark. Okay, and if it's a cloudy day like this, it's going to be darker a little earlier. Okay, so know that temperature drops significantly. So special need, if you don't have something like arm warmers ready, special needs bags got to have something you can throw on that you can wear. So when you are out there on that second loop, you can stay warm. Okay, because if your body already doesn't want to digest because you're telling it to just run. And by the time you get to like hour 10, 12, 13 on your day, and you're like, hey, I just threw a gel in there, get to work. It's like, yeah, no, I'm trying to feed your brain so you don't fall over, and I'm telling the legs to keep moving. We got nothing left for the stomach, right? It's the same thing as you go forward with your pacing. You get to the end of your day, and you're going to start having that inability to do math. How many people have done a marathon where you're at the end, and you're like, all I've got to do is 8:15? No. 8:20. You're trying to do the math at the end, you can't do it. You're like, damn it, I'm just got to run. Just run, That's what happens at the end of an Ironman as well. Your body starts to fade out because it can only handle so much. Something like Coke, which has a little bit of caffeine in it, is a great pick-me-up on the course of the day, And if your nutrition starts to fail on the run, there's two ways to fix it, okay? Number one is, if Drink It Perform's not working for you, then continually drinking Perform and hoping it gets better, it's not going to happen. Okay, so you need to switch your food plan. If your current food plan's not working, you got to switch it because you can't fake it. You're not going to make it. Number two is that's where something like Coke becomes a godsend. It's got some calories in it. It's got some caffeine. It's easy to digest. Sometimes the carbonation helps your stomach a little bit. So if you're, I'll stand out there at the entrance to the state park, and people go by and they'll be like, "I've been throwing up all day. What do I do?" And I'm like, "Drink Coke." Someone's like, "I don't feel so good. Whatever. What do I do?" Drink Coke. It sounds like amazing out there, but I'm just like, drink Coke, drink Coke. Just the one answer, drink Coke, drink Coke. You don't have a lot of other options. If the wheels totally come off your day, hit that next aid station and start getting some food in, but don't overeat, okay? It's very easy to be like, well, there goes mine. I wanted to be 13 hours, whatever. Look at this, I'm gonna have, how many pretzels can I stuff in my mouth at once? And I'll put a banana here and whatever. And then guaranteed, like 8 minutes later, you're gonna feel awesome. Because that food hit your bloodstream. You've been starving yourself all day. It finally hit the bloodstream, like I feel awesome. Fortunately, I have this block of food in my stomach. I can't run because this feels like junk in here. You're trying to run, you're like, oh, I can't do that. So be mindful of that. Keep fueling yourself, and if you hit those problems, slow down, fuel up, and get back to it. So that is this race in a nutshell. Okay, that's the 4 keys of execution. That's the 4 keys of pacing laid over this race. I can't emphasize enough. Swim only as fast as your ability to maintain form. Bike, first 90 minutes to 2 hours, JRA, just being smart and smooth out there, then get to work. On the run, the first 6 miles, 30 seconds slower per mile. If you can do those 3 things, you will have a solid run at the end of your day and you'll have a solid overall marathon. If you finish this race and you say, Patrick, I wanted to go under 11:45 and I went in like 11:47, but I even split the bike, and I missed negative splitting the run by 3 minutes. If you're mad at me, I will buy you a beer, or whatever you like to drink. I will take that anger all day, because there are, for every one of you, there are 20 people out there who were going to ride a 5:15, who actually rode a 5:45, and who were going to run a 3:30 and ran like a 4:45, because they went too hard and they blew up. A great race in an Ironman context is not so much about your finishing time, but as you'll learn over time is how well can you execute that day, what does that day look like overall? Because ultimately tomorrow is the validation of your year. If you think about it, you've been training 6 months, 9 months, however long. Now you have this day to sort of see how your fitness goes. And if you judge yourself only by time, that's like a standardized test, right? You can't get into my college unless you have perfect scores on your SAT, I'm sorry. You set those goals for yourself early, given all the other things that could potentially go wrong on your day, you're gonna be in for a long day. Okay. Instead, focus on what happens on the day, make the most of what you can, and know that the minute you cross that finish line, you could probably be 20 minutes faster if we raced again in a month, because you wouldn't do all the dumb things that you just did. Okay. But you'll get there eventually. Ironman is an exercise in improving over time. That's why people keep coming back. That's it. That's the talk. So now I'm going to stand here. Oh, thank you. I'll stand here, and I I will answer questions. I just need to drink something. I'm very thirsty. I'll answer questions till everyone leaves. No problem. If you don't have a DVD already, someone hold up your DVD. Please. I've got these DVDs. This is this whole talk. It's 2 hours. There's some worksheets on there as well. Please get a DVD. There's some boxes over here. I got another box up here, totally full. Take them home for your friends, your training partners, whatever. I just said Coke on the front.